I know what you're thinking. I got a new haircut. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and just as a little notice, if you haven't noticed already, I am filming in a different sort of location than to my bedroom because number one, it gets really hot in there when I'm filming, so I'm just like, oh my god, that's why I mess around with my hair so much, because I'm just like, it's so hot. And then secondly, I just want like a change of scenery when I just do filming now. So yeah, this is my dad's conservatory. It's a little bit more lighter and more chilled than my own bedroom because the door's right there, so all the air's coming to my face and I'm just like, ah. Okay, moving on from the scenery change, today I am going to talk about my favourite top 4 writers. And I put it as a top 4, one to be original, like my top 7, and also just so, because I don't have many favourite writers. I do like particular writers' works, but all in all, they're not my favourite. So, and it was hard to pin down which one. Oh god. And it was hard to pin down which one was my actual favourite. So, it was going to be top 5, but I didn't really have a top 5, so it was going to be top 4. So, with that in mind, let's just jump right into it. And the first one on my list is the one that has really impacted me and my writing for a while. And when people say to me, what's your favourite book, I immediately go to that one. So, the writer I'm talking about, I don't think she's very well known, but her name is Zinc. And I read her Prophecy of the Sisters books back when I was like 15, 16. God, that was years ago. I feel so old. And when I first came across her books, it was just like a little advertisement on a website, and I was like, oh, that sounds good, let's have a look, see what it's all about. And it sounded like a really good book, and it's basically about two twin sisters, and they're in a Prophecy of the Sisters series, and it's just like a trilogy of 3 books, and it's just like, it's set in the 1800s, I believe. I haven't read it again recently, but I remember how much it impacted me, not just on my writing, but on daily life, because anytime I'm really into a book, I start to speak like the narrator or the characters in the book. And so after I finished, what book was it? I believe it was the Guardian's Gate, the second book in the series. I started saying, Father, and started to talk like really posh. So that's how into the books I can get. And you know, when I think of like story structure and everything, and just like a good story, even though it might be filled with like cliches, I always sort of refer to that book. I'm not saying Zinc's books are cliche, but sometimes there are moments where I sort of predicted what would happen, but it didn't make it less emotional or less impact. It really got to me. And yeah, she's one of my favourite writers. I'm hoping to read one of her books that I wanted to read a couple of years ago after it came out, but I never got around to it because I didn't have the money back then, and I still don't have the money, but hey ho. The book I really want to read was The Temptation of Angels. I'm hoping to read that soon. I'm hoping to get my hands on it as soon as possible. So if you guys want me to do, when I do read it, and if you guys want me to do a book review on it, let me know. And if you want me to do a book review on, hello, want to say hello? Yeah. No, you want to get down? No, get down. If you want me to do a review of the Prophecy of the Sisters books, then please leave a comment down below as well. And yeah, she's one of the first main writers I always think of when it comes to like influences and inspirations, and just overall badass at writing. Next writer on the list is not someone who I have actually thought about in a very long time, no offense to the writer, but I do realise now that when I saw the books on my bookshelf that her sort of like storytelling arc and everything like that has influenced my storytelling a little bit. and that is Melissa De La Cruz. Let's hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And she's a New York writer. She's New York's best-selling writer, or author, I believe. And the main books that I've read are Blue Bloods, up to Bloody Valentine, I believe, just after Misguided Angel. And I always have conflictions about her books because on one hand I love the first 3 or 4 books of her series, but this is where I always get into conflict with some authors and writers and everything. Where you go past like the 3 mark, you always have to be careful not to too much drag it out, and that's why I've only read up recently to Bloody Valentine, is because I lost a bit of interest because I was like, okay, they get together, finally, brilliant, whatever. I think she's a brilliant writer overall, and I think she writes very beautifully, but I think if you can't intrigue, if you don't have much stories to tell with the characters and everything, I think you just need to let them go. I'm hoping to maybe possibly carry on with those books because I think there's 2 more books in the series. I think Lost in Time or Gate to Paradise, their names are. I might try and get my hands on those and just finish the series overall so I know what happens in my head, because even though it's been several years since I read Bloody Valentine, I'm always curious to think, what happens? So even though I lost interest a little bit, I'm still like, I need the conclusion. The way she influenced my story arc telling is like the origins of creatures, or not creatures, or maybe creatures, or species within her books, because you'll understand when you read the books, because there's a lot of history into the Blue Blood series, and I really loved that about her books, and you just don't get that with a lot of books sometimes. I know I'm gonna get like a lot of hate comments down with lots of other authors and everything, probably authors that are already on this list. With 2 authors down, let's get on to the next one. And the ones that I'm probably gonna get hate from on my previous comments was the fans of J.K. Rowling's books, and she's on this list, so please don't give me too much hate. But yeah, I love the Harry Potter series in the movies. I get even more killed on this segment actually. Basically, I have read some of Harry Potter books, but I've only read up to half of the book of book 3. Like, I've read the 2 books previously, and I've read like half of The Prisoner of Azkaban. And I can't remember why I stopped reading it, but I will get back to it. I'm gonna buy like a whole new fancy books, because I think part of the reason why I stopped reading it was because the book covers weren't all the same. I know that sounds really weird and fussy, but my mind was just like, oh, it looks ugly, they're not all the same. So I sort of donated those books and go, I know it's like a money waster, but I just go get the new covers of it, because firstly, the new covers of the Harry Potter series are really nice. Not to diss on the old ones, but they're just really nice. And I like all the covers to be similar, somewhat similar. Don't change it halfway through, please. Like, not like the Vampire Diaries series, not the Vampire Diaries, Vampire Academy. There's so many vampire titles out there. From what I read from J.K. Rowling's books so far, that it's all very like easy to read, and that's what I sort of liked about it. It wasn't too complex or too complex like Michelle Zinc and Melissa De La Cruz. Sorry. But I don't see it as a bad thing as well, that it wasn't complex. It just got straight to the point, and it could be a bit more complex as the books go on, because they're sort of younger ages at these points, so it might get more darker and complex. That's what I've been told anyway. I'm going to just assume that, because that's what it was like in the movies. I know the movies aren't the same, please don't bite my head off. And before anyone asks, I know how the actual books do actually go, because before I actually got into book reading, I was a big like Harry Potter fan anyway, and I just sort of read up what happens in the books. I know that sounds really horrible, but it was before I actually really got into reading, and I am still gonna read them anyway. I don't really care. Like, I always try and find out what happens in the books a little bit of what I read, so I know what the premise is, and so that I can sort of know what to expect. I don't do it for all books, but some of the books that are very well known, so I understand why they're so popular and everything. It could just be me. Another thing about J.K. Rowling and why she's on my top 4 writers is because she's just so damn inspirational. Like, there's some things that I do disagree with her on nowadays in regards to politics and everything like that. I do really think she's very inspirational because she had like so many rejection letters when she first sent out the Harry Potter series, and she's gone from being very poor to being very rich. So I find her really inspirational in that way, that some writers do come up on top sometimes. You hear a lot saying, oh, you don't get paid much as a writer, and most cases that is true, but the world is now changing and it's evolving, and you know, we're seeing more writers come up on top. So, you know, one day that could be you, it could be me, it could be any other writer out there could come up on top, just like J.K. Rowling. So yeah. My last top 4 writers is, I think people who follow me or subscribe to me are very aware who I'm probably gonna say, and that is Cassandra Clare. And Cassandra Clare is mostly famous for the famous Shadowhunters Chronicles, mainly the Mortal Instruments series. The Mortal Instruments series is the main series that I have read. I've read a bit of the Infernal Devices, I think that's what it's called. I'm gonna get killed again. I read like one chapter of that. And then I think I lost a bit of interest. I don't know why. I will go back to it though, because it's mocking me up in my bedroom. And I read the first book in The Dark Art. She has very complicated series names, but it's the one with Emma Carstairs. And I really liked that, actually. I actually really liked that. I think why Cassandra Clare is on my top 4 writers list is because I like her, well, not only her creation of the world of the Shadowhunter world and the Shadow world as it's called, but also how she establishes character relationships. I really like how she does that and how she makes them so raw and so real. Like, sometimes the characters will speak how I would speak, and I'll be like, oh my god, this person's so me. I like it in that sense. I do think I need to speak on a little bit about people's criticism that she's sort of dragging out the series by having lots of series in the Shadowhunters Chronicles. Agree and disagree with that, because a part of me sort of agrees in the fact that, oh god, when is this ever gonna end? Just end it already. But at the same time, I don't really want it to end because it's such a beautiful world. And also, let her do what she wants. Like, even though I get sometimes annoyed with what she writes sometimes, and that sometimes I'm just like, oh god, another Shadowhunters book is coming out. But at the same time, I'm just like, oh, cool, I get to get another Shadowhunters book. And also, it's her right to keep on writing that world if she wants, because she's created it. She is the one who's created it, so it's her choice if she wants to continue making stories out of it. To be honest with you, as a writer, I understand that you don't ever want to leave the world that made you feel very accomplished in some ways, and you just feel part of it in some ways. Like, the world that you created in your mind as a writer, you feel part of it. It feels horrible to leave it. So I understand why she keeps on writing it. So those are my top 4 writers. Sorry it wasn't any longer. I haven't been reading that much in the last year or 2, so I haven't had many books to read, but I'm hoping to change that along with my writing this year. So yeah, let's keep my fingers crossed on that. And if you have any book recommendations, just leave a comment down below and I'll probably search it up and see if it's to my taste. I should be putting up another section of my writing of my novel up soon. That should be just basically about how far I've gotten and what I've learned so far and what's pushing me to keep on writing. And yeah. So that is it for today. Don't forget to leave any thoughts or comments down below. Give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And in the description there should be links to my Instagram, my Twitter, and what is it called? Oh, Tumblr. How could I forget Tumblr's name? But yeah, there should be links down below, or all of my usernames on there, so you could go and follow me and find out when my next video is coming up. I do have a Snapchat, but I only use it on a very, like, if I'm bored sort of basis. I mainly use Instagram though, so go and follow me mainly on there. But for now, until next time, bye guys.